Welcome to the real estate class. I'm Shannon, and today we're here to talk about types of real property and classes of residential housing. Always happy to help you pass that test the first time. So, types of real property include residential, commercial, industrial, agricultural, and special purpose. Let's start off by talking about residential, places where people live, whether it's a single family or a multifamily, urban or rural, condo or mobile home. Residential properties encompass all the types of properties where people live. Commercial, well, places where people do things. Retail stores, restaurants, theaters, hotels, even parking lots are considered commercial property for their income producing activities. Industrial, places where people make things, factories, power plants, research facilities, land in those industrial districts are all for industrial uses. Then, of course, we have agricultural, farms and ranches, orchards and hatcheries. Even the timberland is considered places where people grow things. And then we have special purpose. These are properties that don't fit other classes. Consider they don't pay taxes. Maybe it's a privately owned property, a church, a monastery, a cemetery, a college, or it's publicly owned, government buildings, schools, libraries, police stations. They all have a special purpose, and they typically do not pay property tax. So for our types of property, we have residential, agricultural, commercial, industrial, and special purpose. Let's take that residential housing and split it up into its different classes. With a single family property, and you hear me say single family residential, I'm talking about 1 to 4 family. If I get to a multifamily that's 5+ units, it's still residential, but it's moved into that commercial space. MUDs, single vertical structure, commercial on the bottom, residential on the top, self-contained, but mixed use. And then, of course, we have the PUD, a master plan community, a development that has housing and recreation and maybe even some commercial uses. Special zoning applies to these neighborhoods, and a homeowners association may apply fees. Many properties have been converted. It used to be the hospital, now it's the city hall, or a school that was turned into senior housing. Churches and other public buildings that have become private residences, or the mill buildings here in the Northeast. We made shoes and calico and velvet. Now we have restaurants and commercial spaces and condominiums. Many properties can change from one use to another. And then we have factory-built housing. Starting with manufactured homes, commonly known as mobile homes, they're built into a factory and then they're shipped and installed on the pad. They have a chassis and an axle that can be hooked up to a truck and rolled down the highway. They're considered complete. They're completely built in the factory, including electricity and plumbing. So when they're brought and dropped on their pad, it's kind of like plug and play. It's ready to go for a long-term residence. And our final type of factory housing is modular properties. They're also prefabricated in a factory, like in quadrants, and broken apart, like a big jigsaw puzzle. Loaded onto the truck, taken to the site, and rebuilt, reassembled. Add plumbing, add electricity. Now we have a home for long-term use. I want to thank you for taking this moment for joining me for types of real property and classes of residential housing. I hope this was helpful. Please press that like if it was. See you next time.